begin with a question that we have for all of you this morning. Did you sleep well last night? Did you wake up feeling refreshed, ready to sort of seize the day? Well, data suggests that if I were to go out and ask this question to Indians, 1 in 4 would say no.
India is the second most sleep-deprived country in the whole world, right after Japan. And according to the latest study, this is by local circles, 61% of Indians surveyed got less than 6 hours of uninterrupted, that's the key word there, sleep at night.
Another data point says that the worst hit are actually Gen Z and Gen X. A vast majority of teens today are living with borderline to almost severe sleep deprivation. It has led to a rise in lots of complications, cardiac, nervous ailments, and it has also resulted in lower cognition, focus, and concentration.
The problem is so big that there are entire sleep industries now. You have sleep sellers that are on the rise. You have mattress makers, you have different sleep trackers. Some of these are just apps that you already have on your phone. Some that will just calm you, meditation apps you can follow. Sleep coaches that are all trying to make this idea of sleep for each of us much better, much easier, much less anxious.
But on the program today, our idea is to sort of bust some myths and bring you some actionable ideas on how to improve your sleep. Because remember, sleep impacts weight loss, sleep impacts dementia, sleep impacts heart disease, sleep impacts stroke, sleep even impacts your mood. We all know that already, right? So basically, a good quality sleep is as essential, and we need to plan our sleep as well as we plan our day.
So one of the things we love to do here on TBC, of course, is to go over to the experts. Let's introduce our guest for today. We have Dr. Anita Mathew. She's joining us. She's the Director for Internal Medicine at the Fortis Hospital. Let's go over to her with our first question. Doctor, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us, Doctor. Doctor, are you seeing more patients come in with sleeping disorders compared to, for example, 10 years ago?
Good morning, everyone. Definitely, we are seeing more number of patients who walk in, but probably not with the sleep disorder as the predominant complaint. What they do come in is with a vague set of complaints, and then on inquiry, they also let us know that they are deprived of sleep as well. So probably what they are assuming is another disease is probably a masked sleep deprivation.
I see. So a lot of people who are coming in with general complaints don't understand that it's actually sleep deprivation that's leading to it. But our data suggests, and a lot of anecdotal evidence out there, that Gen Z and Gen X are mostly more at the borderline of this sleep insomnia. They're also called the zombie generation. Have you been able to narrow down into why that happens? Of course, technology and the amount of influence it has on us has a major role to play.
It's a multifactorial thing. So, of course, the technology, the number of devices that you really have with you, they all do play a major role in the reason why people are chronically sleep deprived. But there are other factors as well. The stress levels are on the rise. The number of working hours are huge. You have a huge amount of time that is required to commute from point A to point B as compared to what it used to be in the past. All of these are also adding up. Plus, there are a lot of more people in probably the generation X which fly cross country, right? So they do get jet lagged. That's also one of the reasons why they then tend to have chronic sleep deprivation.
Right.
And doctor, are there some tips that people can follow? You know, you hear things like don't use your phone in the last hour, don't have a certain kind of light around you. Just tell us, which are the tips that you actually stand by?
The first and the foremost is to try and change the lifestyle. So your eating pattern. So try and eat early, especially the dinner. So having the dinner by about 6:37 is probably the best thing to do. May not be doable for everyone, but if one could do that, that would be helpful. The second would be to try and have a pattern in which you are going to go off to sleep in the night at a particular fixed time point, irrespective of come what may. So it's not work hard and party hard. So have a disciplined kind of a life there. That would probably help you really much. The third is to get off all your devices as much as possible. All your devices means it bans even the television set. by about say, 1.5 hours before you go to bed. Avoid having a coffee or a tea multiple times a day. That actually boosts your system. So they probably will make you stay awake for a longer bit of a time. So reducing that might help. Alcohol is considered to be helpful in inducing sleep in certain, but it reduces the quality of sleep. So avoid alcohol as much as possible. These are simple things that can be done to reduce, and people don't or rather can't get off the devices early. So one of the things that they can do is to sit and write stuff, read stuff that might actually help in inducing sleep.
Right, so it's about going back to basics and ensuring that you're keeping all these gadgets
Precisely,
away as much as possible. And it gets even more difficult for Gen Z because they're practically, their homework is also on their laptops and their iPads, right? So there's so much of integration. That is perhaps one of the reasons.
One of the major reasons why they have.
Right. Doc, the problem of insomnia has led to this entire sleep industry sort of crop up. Now, even if you go to a regular departmental store or you go to your chemist, there are these constant medicines out there that one can see, sleep inducing or helping in sound sleep or sprays, etc. So I have a couple of questions for you that we want to bust myths on, right? So what about these over-the-counter available nutraceutical tablets or even these melting in your mouth strips that say that they help in sleep? Do they work?
There is no data to really suggest that they work. So I wouldn't really advocate them.
Okay. But what about the other popular one, which is on sleeping mattresses? All these mattresses out there which promise you the most beautiful sleep.
All that you need is a comfortable, firm, not so soft mattress. You need pillows which are just right for your neck. I mean, if you have a neck problem, invest in a neck-based pillow. Make sure that your pillows and your mattresses are changed periodically. Something like 8 years for mattress and 2 to 3 years for pillows is what is generally advocated in the medical circles. Try doing that. That's all that is required. You don't need to invest in fancy stuff.
Okay, then all these fancy mattresses then saying that they will give you the most dreamy, beautiful sleep is really not working then. But what about these sprays? A lot of them are pillow sprays and fragrances and candles. They're supposed to put you in this sleeping mood. You're smiling on that one.
So all that we need to understand here that maybe it works for certain individuals, but there is no randomized control study, which is what we believe in evidence-based medicine to really suggest that these would help you to or lull you to sleep.
Okay, so no evidence, but if it's helping in your mood, maybe there's no...
Yeah, there's no harm in doing it as well, as long as you're not an asthmatic.
All right.
Because all of those aromas might just trigger an episode of the same.
True. Last two ones then that we've got for you. These sleeping apps which are all a rage these days, do you think they work?
They are again apps, they are again on your devices. So the best thing to do is to stay off them as much as possible. In certain set of individuals, they might be helpful. But for people who are chronically sleep deprived, people who are completely insomniac, maybe that's not one of the best things to do.
I see. Not really advisable.
No, not really advisable in most of the individuals.
So Toya, these apps are really not working then?
I also need to ask here, tell us doctors, if we do everything, say we followed all these steps and we find ourselves, we go to bed at the right time, we're in bed say by 9 p.m. and say by 11 in the night, 12 in the night, because this is sometimes what happens, you follow all the steps, you're in bed, but neend hi nahi aa rahi tab bhi. Then what do you suggest to our TBC family? Is there a hack you found that works in the middle of the night, when you've tried all these biological things, how do you then put your mind to rest?
So we need to understand that a daily dose of exercise actually helps. But when I'm saying exercise is not just before going to bed exercise, because that might energize you. So you're supposed to do some bit of exercise in the morning, which might actually help you. Meditation helps, but again, not just about the time that you're going to sleep. A regular meditation pattern will help you. If you are not falling asleep on your bed, make a point to get up, do something in the form of reading or doing whatever bit that you can. Again, stay off devices, but use your bedroom only for sleeping at that particular time point. The minute we start doing too many things or activities there, it creates an issue.
But that's what's slightly confusing. Something like reading, tell us, how come that doesn't end up being something that's activating your brain?
Have you realized how as a student we used to go off to sleep the minute we would take in a book in our hand? It has a similar kind of an effect.
Fascinating.
Right? So probably pick up your children's books, probably we all will go off to sleep at that time point. So that's why we also have these apps which tell you stories.
Yeah.
Right? So they are supposed to get you to sleep. So you do go off to sleep at that particular time point, but there is no one mantra which will help you to sleep immediately. So if you are continuously having this sleep deprivation for a couple of days, it is a time to also go off to and meet with your physician, because they might be able to pick up some diseases which may not be something that you may have thought of. So there are conditions which causes sleep related issues, and those need to be then looked into.
Okay, and
There is another myth about sleeping, which again, those questions that we had for you, if we can prop them up on the screen as well. It's on having milk before sleeping. It's like this age-old phenomena, as our dadis and nannies would say, कि दूध पी के सोएंगे तो अच्छी नींद आएगी. Does that really work, or is it a myth again?
It does work in certain individuals. I wouldn't say no for it, but we do need to understand that milk by itself contains something called as a tryptophan, which is a sleep inducer, because it's a precursor of the melatonin that is generally available, right? Now the difficulty is the amount of tryptophan which is there in the content of milk is something that is going to be debatable, right? So you can't really say that that's a sleep inducer. So some individuals it might work, but for some individuals it might actually lead to reflux.
Yeah, if you're lactose intolerant.
If you can also, I mean, even aging, even if you're not lactose intolerant, even aging will increase your risk of reflux if you eat something, and that's the precise reason I said eating early.
Doctor, can you also
Right.
tell us, because, you know, everything we're discussing right now, one thing that's still tricky for our viewers is how do you know that it's bad? So how many nights of sleep, for example, would you tell our audiences, okay, this is a problem, versus no, this is something that will pass, don't worry, maybe next week you'll be different, you don't yet need to go visit a doctor. How do audiences decide that for themselves?
So the only thing that I would tell you is that for, let's say, for a period of a month, 15-20 days you could be under stressor. So you may still not be in a position to sleep, but for a month if it is continuing, and if it hampers your cognition, your basic behavioral pattern, if you are sleepy in the daytime, if your partner or whoever sleeps next to you tells you that you have been snoring, right? And if you have periodically been putting on weight or having a water retention, these are signs that there is something going seriously wrong with your body, and that's the time point that you should be visiting your doc.
All right then. So those are lots of things on when to sort of to understand the science of sleep, which is so complex, I guess. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much
for joining us and giving us all that perspective. So clearly, you know, as a young mom, I can say I don't get enough sleep at all, and I don't know when it's going to get better either. But Toya, how about you? How's your sleep cycle these days?
That's the tricky thing, you know, not only is my sleep bad, and I'm not even like you, Sonal, I don't have a young child to take care of at home, and still my sleep is badgered absolutely. And I also, you know, the funny thing is there's so much fake science or faux science that's floating around. Recently I read, for example, that women need to sleep much longer than men do. Women need at least 9, 10, 11 hours. Men can do with 6 hours. Then I looked into it and it didn't seem like the studies were consistent. So it still feels like an area that's kind of in the cutting edge of, you know, research in terms of how much we know about it.
Yeah, just breathe, I guess. You know, breathe it in, breathe it out, and take it easy. I think stress levels, that's the bottom line of everything that we are tackling with these days. But on that note, talking about breathing, you've got a guest with you.
Right, right. So one of the things we've discussed right now is the importance of movement in this entire story. And we've often discussed the goodness of yoga and all of this. We have with us Dr. Ankita. I'm just going to go over to her. She's an MBBS with us. She's with us here. She's an art of living instructor, and she's an osteopath in her own right. So ma'am, I'm going to refer to you as doctor through this entire demonstration. We also have our colleague Sonal, who's joining us right now from the Mumbai studio. So we're going to be starting off, I believe, doctor, with some things that Sonal can also follow along with, our audiences can also follow along with at home.
Sure.
Correct? Can you just tell us a little bit?
Yes, you know, in this fast-paced world with so many stresses and distractions, getting a peaceful night's sleep can be extremely challenging. And also because productivity takes precedence over rest these days, we don't give that importance to rest. First and foremost, I was reading that it was saying that is Gen Z the new zombie. They have to first understand that sleep is important. It's not something that's just giving us rest, or it's just okay, you know, so that I can be going again in the morning, let me just sleep and rest. It's not just that. A lot of physiological things in our body are also happening when we are asleep. The whole formation of our memory, the long-term memory, that happens when we sleep. So if we are not sleeping, I am also having an impact on my long-term memory and short-term memory. If I am not sleeping well, I am having an impact on my hormonal imbalance in the body. Also, you know, in the brain, at any time when we are awake, for you and me right now, there's so much electricity being generated that can power a night bulb here. If so much electricity is being produced, there's obviously so much waste which is also being produced. This waste, you know, it has a fancy name, beta amyloids. This gets wiped off when we are asleep. So it is very important. Now we need to give this little time to sleep. So first is we need a winding down ritual. Like doctor was also telling bedtime stories. We had that, right?
Do you have one to show us, maybe?
Yes, we'll show you some bedtime rituals. It can be either reading, it can be singing, listening to music, but certain things are mudras that we can do. Yeah. So what are mudras? Mudras are basically hand gestures which allow for good flow of prana in the body. So just 3 simple ones have been to have great importance for giving good night's sleep. First, we can do the prana mudra. So the last 3 fingers, they touch each other.
Okay, let's just see.
And the first 2 fingers are straight. And we can just put them in our lap and we breathe. So when we breathe, the exhalations can be longer than the inhalations.
So exhalations, you said, so the breathing out is longer than
the breathing out longer than breathing in. Why? When we breathe out longer, we are stimulating the vagus nerve, which is the most important nerve for the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest mode of the body.
And why these fingers?
Because, you know, all fingers have our different elements. They are associated with different elements, and when we can balance them around, it allows for better sleep. This is the earth and water element, the last 2 fingers. Yeah, but we use all of them. Yeah. The next we can do the Shakti Mudra, which is on the thumb. We wrap the first 2 fingers. The index finger and the middle finger are wrapping
on the
Sonal
joining us. Let's just check in with
and
that
then
I'm just wondering if you've got that right, Doc.
yes, you've got it absolutely right, Sonal.
There we
and
go.
The last 2 fingers are touching each other.
Right.
Just touch the tips of the little and ring finger to each other. Yes. And we can just put it near the navel.
So now the fingers are touching.
Yes, the 2 fingers are touching near the navel, and same thing we breathe. Breathing is most important.
Can we sit, like if one is sitting, you know, like you do on a desk with your feet
You
down,
can
that's
do
okay.
it. That's absolutely all right. Sitting doesn't matter.
Okay, right now.
You can even do it on a recliner. Another important mudra that helps us is the Dhyani mudra. So on the left hand, we can put the right hand. And we touch the tips of thumb to each other. Yes. For you, Sonal, I'm showing it behind.
So it's like a lovely, it's like a little diamond or a triangle?
Correct.
What are we looking
like
for?
a little diamond.
Okay.
You got that right.
Okay.
And we can place it near the navel again and just breathe.
Doctor, does this have anything to do with, you know, the chakras that they talk about? Is that this?
Not really much, but yes, when the attention is around the navel, the sleep is better. So if we put our hands here, it's automatically going. That's one less thing to think about. You don't have to take your awareness anywhere. But yes, the Yoga Nidra practice, where you take your awareness to different parts of the body just when you lie down, that helps a lot. Yeah. Then certain particular way of breathing, you know, like I was saying, the out breath being longer than the in breath. Similarly, if we are just blowing air out of the mouth through a very small opening.
How? It's a very, very small opening. Okay.
Very small, like a straw. You're, you know, throwing air through a straw. Have you seen kids, they take water and they put the straw and they just bubble the water and they get some weird pleasure out of it. Irritating for people around, but they find it pleasurable. The pleasure is for real. Because you are stimulating your vagus nerve, you are being relaxed unconsciously. So we can use it consciously to relax ourselves also. And we don't need a straw and water for that. You can just breathe like that. This helps. Even, you know, tapping. when you just tap areas of the head.
Okay, is there a pattern to how you're tapping your head?
Not really. Just tapping, the hands must be loose. That's the only thing. Some people keep it very tight and tap, it won't work.
There
So
we should
just
also check it
tapping a little.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the hairstyle, just tap. I think women get a little conscious with the hairstyle when they are tapping. But anyways, you'll do it
But
in
you're just
bed.
doing it's a
That's
slight.
like
just
it's
a
like
tap.
knocking yourself to sleep.
Yeah. You know, we do rock babies, to sleep.
Yeah.
So we do that, and also little stroking. Very gentle
This is
stroking
so
on the
lovely.
face.
Basically, आप अपने घर पे spa बना दो.
Exactly. स्पा में रिलैक्स तो हो ही जाते हैं, थोड़ी देर बाद उठने को मन नहीं करता है.
How come we're only focusing on the facial region?
You don't need to focus more. We will do when we lie down certain asanas, which will allow us to help with
Can
the
we
thing.
see those too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just lie down.
Okay, tell us how.
So on your back.
Okay.
So we basically just come here. Your
Yes.
head can be here. On the back we lie down.
Yes.
And we bring the knees to the chest, like we are hugging our knees.
Wait, I just want to look at you once.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are just hugging our knees. Sonal,
Yes.
you can watch us and do it later at night. Later tell me how it was for you.
Okay, so we're hugging our knees.
Yeah, and then we just rock like a
Rocking.
baby from side to side. Yeah, so we create a cradle for ourselves. Rocking action can naturally calm the nervous system down. So just rocking a little. It's very good.
Yeah,
And
this
then
is
we can
true
hold
actually,
the
because
big
when you
toes
rock your
with our
baby to
hands.
sleep, half the time you fall asleep
And then
yourself.
just again keep rocking, moving the legs here and there, just like how you would have seen small babies do it.
Yeah. Like a
Yeah,
baby
you
in a
know, they
crib,
want to
literally.
take their thumbs and take it to their mouth. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
But it helps. You know, and the last one, another thing that really, really helps is we can put the arms behind the head and we just twist.
Must look at you.
You know, just twist. Legs to one side, head to the other, and then again legs to the other side and head to the first side.
Yes.
So this twist again, it's something that really relaxes the spine, all the nerves that are passing through the spine, and stay in the posture. You know, we want to relax, so we don't want to do like really quick, but just staying there for a while. That is something that can help us.
Doctor, may I
you know?
ask, is this
Yes.
particular pose you've made us do, because this one
Yes.
has a bit of a stretch
Yes.
involved.
Yeah.
Is this something where you'd say if you're a certain age, don't attempt? Or?
Not really.
Okay.
You're doing it in your bed, yeah, and
It's
see,
safe.
whenever we are lying down, we eliminate the effect of gravity on the spine, so it is very safe for all ages.
Okay.
Everyone can. In fact, we suggest people who can't do it by themselves, we tell someone that, take help of someone and allow them to do this stretch for you. It will really help you.
I think
Yeah.
let's go back to Sonal. Sonal?
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Ankita, I must say, after all those relaxing exercises, I definitely want to, sort of understand and get a little sleepy, feeling a little sleepy myself. But having said that, is that a lot of people who struggle with insomnia? And, we kind of keep emphasizing on it's not the duration you spend on the bed, it's the quality of sleep. Is this something one can do to perhaps ensure if they're struggling with it? Is it for those at a chronic level or a general practice as well?
Both. One is sleep is something, it requires a little patience and consistency. Like doctor was also mentioning earlier, that you need to have that particular time of sleeping, particular ritual of sleeping. In your sleep ritual, you can have these asanas and pranayamas. For someone who's having disturbed sleep, it will help them. And for someone who doesn't have disturbed sleep, it will give them a deeper sleep. Yeah, and also for people who get short sleep hours, like you have a baby, maybe you fall asleep and then in 2 hours you have to wake up again. Then you can just use these things to fall asleep again. Many times people wake up and they find it difficult to fall asleep again. So this is something that can help them as well.
Okay.
And when practiced over a period of time, it helps. The Sudarshan Kriya Yoga. personally for me, when I did it for a period of time, I was in medical college, we had long hours, right? 24 hours duty, 36 hours duty. I realized my sleep was going for a toss. But with the Sudarshan Kriya Yoga practice over a long time, that helped me a lot to get my sleep back on track. You know, so for a long-term practice, that is also something that people can learn and practice.
Thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Ankita, this has been very, very helpful, educational. We are definitely going to try it out and see if it improves our quality of sleep at least. My favorite is the rocking baby pose because this is what my baby does as well. And I can promise to our viewers, just doing that puts you to sleep as well. Thanks so much for joining us. On that note, we've got another message for you. This one coming in from Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar, who's got a message on how to sleep right. Take a look.
What is that which keeps you away from sleeping? Wanting to do something. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that. What if you are gone? Suppose today is the last day, you are gone. Then what is there for you to do? Remember that you are going to die one day. And death won't wait for you to complete a job and then you will die. Whether you are complete, incomplete, death will come and take you away. Once you know this, the end, in the movies there is the last scene that comes, the end. The end is going to come. Once you know that, okay, right now let me be at peace, you will fall asleep. So this is what would help you to have a little bit detachment for whatever work you are doing. Your work is like your shoes or your coat. Remember, when you go home, you don't go to bed with your shoes and coat, do you?